Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 7 of the Sim Racing in Focus podcast. It's a podcast where, as the name suggests, we talk about sim racing. I'm your host, Dean Reddit. I am the owner and editor at a small startup website known as simracinginfocus.blog, where we produce small blog-style articles and now also this podcast. I'm also joined tonight by... We'll go with a co-host, but it's Jacob Hughes, or affectionately known as Packets. Packets, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Very excited. Can't wait to talk about these firing topics that we have tonight.
Well, we're going to go a little bit different tonight. It's been a little bit... been a bit of delay between episodes because I've been jet setting off and enjoying a bit of a break down in Melbourne. So it's taking me a couple of days to get over it. I don't usually get away from the kids for a couple of nights, so we took full advantage of that and ended up in a place called the Swamp, which was as dodgy as the name suggests. but fittingly, the Swamp's probably a pretty good place to start with the release. Well, iRacing's new build release this week, and we've got a hot topic in rain to cover. But I guess we'll clear everyone in on what we're going to do tonight. So normally we do some race recaps and then get into an interview. But obviously, with the hectic nature of the week, we've had to change things up. So Packets is on, or Jacob's on. And we've got all these new goodies that have released from iRacing and elsewhere. And we're going to do a bit of a spinny wheel and come up with... We've got 7 or 8 topics on the spinny wheel, and we're going to spend 10 minutes covering each. So long-time lurker, Jacob, mate, you'll be well up to speed with a lot of these topics we've got to cover tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, I think I recognise maybe one of them. I think we should be right. No, it should be good.
Yeah, it should be good. I agree. Like, it'd be like it's something different. And look, it's iRacing week 13, so we've got to be a little bit silly with some of the stuff we do.
Yeah, the incident points that are racked up this week, I'm glad they don't actually go against your license at all in week 13 because I would be screwed.
Well, if anyone's done any racing against you, they'll know that you rack them up with ease anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that what's that little tool you've got on Race Labs where you can actually put like a red flag next to the driver's name, so they actually give you a warning. Like if you end up in the same race as them, no doubt I've got a few of those lurking around some of them.
Okay, well, we'll just run through the topics here quickly off the top of our head, and then we'll go to our randomizer wheel, which listeners can't see, but I assure you it's there. But both Jacob and I can see it. But obviously, we're going to look at the Tempest Weather model that's come out this week on iRacing. We're going to have a bit of a conversation about Le Mans Ultimate, SF Formula Light, the Formula License introduction into iRacing. So it's no longer just road. Dirt ovals. It's also got a formula category in there now. Circuit Portimao and Misano. Correct me if I'm saying this wrong. The Potayona. We'll go with that. Is that good? That's good. Yep. Okay.
You know it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's how much I know about that topic. And look. If we get time, and it could be the first topic, you never know. But we'll also touch on the first round of V8 Scops that kicked off last weekend. So, and we'll talk a little bit about not so much the race, but just about the craziness of the pre-qualification for that round. So, all those topics, we'll get into it. And yeah, it's iRacing week 13. Let's go. Alrighty, so Jacob, let me get this spinny wheel fired up here, and let's see what our first topic's going to be. I've got no notes prepared on any of these topics, and I'm assuming you're the same. So we'll see how this goes.
Let's go with the winged attitude.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got the tracks here first. So we've got the Circuit Portimao, Misano, but also just a couple of tracks in Winton, Snetterton, and Circuit de Lebanon, moving to free content on iRacing. So
is it really free? Is it really free? But
is it really? Well, not for those that have paid for them.
I think I've bought all but one of those.
Actually, I'll tell you what, since the update, I haven't checked the credits. Is there any credits in there for us or what?
No, I don't think so. Well, I think I bought, which one was it? I swear I bought Letter not that long ago, and I didn't see any credits going. So I don't know. Unless it goes next week, I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I didn't.
No, it would have been. Usually he's in pretty quick. Like,
yeah,
I would have expected them to be there pretty much. They're usually pretty good with that stuff, but they have, been. Look, I guess no, that doesn't work out. I was going to say they're giving us free content, so it's a give and take, but they're not really, are they? So,
no, that's what I mean. Is it really free?
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you, the track I am excited for is Portimao. I haven't driven it yet in the sim, but those COVID years in F1 when they went there, that track looked insane. Just like the heaps of undulation changes, tabletop start finish. Do you know much about that track?
Yeah, I do. Only like the last couple of years because like I'm a massive MotoGP fan, so they've been going there.
They go there often, do they?
Yeah, well, they've only started in the last 2, maybe 3 seasons, I think they have. But it's just an awesome track, and like, there's one part in particular that a lot of people will be very familiar with, and that'd be the big hill part of it, and it's like a blind crest, and you can't see on the other side. It's practically, when you hit it enough, it's practically a jump, and one guy in particular, Jack Miller in the GP, he would go flat out over it, compress the bike, and actually get airborne coming off the other side. And it's just mental. But yeah, it's a cool track. Like I like it very much.
Thinking it's probably more like a high downforcey type track.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And even like the start, like straight, is a very odd one. So like it gets a massive runoff out of the final corner. And then, like, just as you're about to hit the braking zone for turn 1, which is a 90-degree right, and the track literally drops off, goes down this like sudden decline, and then flattens out. And it's just such a weird way to have a track. Like, and especially in actual racing, like especially like GP and that, like a lot of guys get caught out by the downhill section and the way it sucks you into turn 1, and like just the way you got to brake for it. Like it's just it's a very unique turn 1 for a track, that's for sure.
It sounds like it's going to be so enjoyable in the V8 supercar.
It'll be horrible.
It sounds like everything the V8 supercar doesn't need, like no camber, off cambered corners, slopes, undulation changes. Yeah,
I can just see people hitting the brakes as soon as they hit that downhill section and locking up, like getting airborne on the front wheels. Like just you can see it now. Like,
going over the jump, just the back getting light, just wheel spin galore. Yeah. Sounds like it's going to be terrific.
If you thought the hump at Lime Rock was bad, wait till you see this.
Well, at least, we lost Bathurst as a potential jump, and we might be gaining one here.
Yeah, definitely.
In certain cars. Man. But what about Misano? I know my main experience with Misano is just from watching the GT3 with the Fanatec World Challenge when it goes there, and it looks okay. Is that another MotoGP track?
It is another GP track. That's actually why it's named the Marco Simoncelli circuit now, because he actually passed away there like about that would have been about 8 years ago, maybe probably even 10 years ago, a long time ago now. But yeah, it was renamed after him. But yeah, awesome circuit once again. Another good circuit.
Look at you go. This is why I've got you on. Look at that history by packets.
Yeah. We'll get the guy to talk about sim racing that knows about MotoGP.
Yeah. Yeah, it is unique. You do look, yeah, you love your MotoGP. I'll give you that. I'm not. It's not being like I should get into it more because I know it's awesome, like in terms of racing. But for some reason, I still just like let my eyes bleed watching the procession that's Formula One these days. So anyway, but yeah, it's yeah, I've done all that, and I've done a little bit of Assetto Corsa Competizione there, and I don't mind it. It's a it's never it's not been one that has really captured my uh sometimes you can go to a track where it can be hard to pass, but the track can be really, really enjoyable to drive at this, like, even when you're on track by yourself. But I kind of really don't get that with Misano.
Yeah.
It's not really, got captured either me for racing, but I mean, we won't know for sure until we test it in iRacing whether it's a good track for sort of going door to door. But certainly on other sims and just watching it live, it's never really. It looks like an all right track, but it's not really one that sort of captured me in terms of I have to watch it this round, like a lot of other tracks do. But
Yeah.
we'll see how we go.
I think like in the IMSA series, it'll be a good track because like much like Magello, which like I found like so I did like the Premier Endurance League with Magello, and I did it with the GT4 and the GT3, and I thought like the GT4 on that track was like awesome, and then I drove the GT3 there, and I just didn't find it all that enjoyable. But then I cut a few laps in like the LMP2 around there, and just like loved it. Like I feel like Misano will be like another one of those tracks where it's just like either a slow sort of floaty car. There's a lot of body roll will be good around there, but then I feel like also a super high downforce car like an LMP will be good around there. Whereas I feel like the GT3, and I like a lot of tracks like that with GT3s, I feel like are just like feel too, I don't know what the word is to use, but like Le Mans, like I don't like driving a GT3 around Le Mans. Like I feel like I need to go faster, more downforce around that track. Like I just, I feel like that's where the GT3 sort of feels for me with Misano. Whereas higher and lower downforces are a bit more fun on it.
Yep. I'm the same. Like when it comes to Le Mans or pretty much whenever I've done a Le Mans and iRacing, I've always been in LMP2 or well, I've never done LMP1 or LMDH there, but I've always been LMP2 or what was that open top one before the LMP2 got released? I forget its name now.
The HPD.
The HPD, yeah, that one. Yeah, that was wicked. That car.
Yeah,
I've seen it made a comeback. Anyway.
Yeah, it's made a comeback again. They've got a multi-class series between that and is it the GTEs or?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, and it actually gets like a decent gathering sometimes.
It does. Whenever I flick onto YouTube or Facebook, sometimes it's always popping up as like, just with the algorithm, like when those races go live. So that looks like a sweet series. Anyway, but we're off track. But I won't. I'll definitely pick Misano up. Like it's one of those tracks where I think you could count the GT3 series is going to go there regularly. IMSA will go there regularly. Like so, sometimes you buy these tracks, they may not be like the ones that resonate with you, but they're going to get a lot of use. So you pay the money and you get them anyway. So. The V8 supercar will go there once, and then we'll see it in 2 years' time, probably. But then I thought I had the same reservations about Magello, and it actually turned out to be quite fun in the supercar, even though it was torture because the thing would fry its tires in the first 2 laps, or maybe that was me in the way I drive it. But then you were just holding on to grim death, but it was kind of fun at the same time. So, maybe Misano. Might be the same, but well, we got our 3 free tracks now. So Winton, Snetterton, and Circuit de Lebanon. So what are your feelings about seeing those go free?
My feeling is maybe I should have waited instead of buying them. That's probably. I
Is
well,
there? Do you think? Yeah, controversial
buying
here.
Winton,
Do you
and
think we
then
should have got credits for them, or half credits, or
I
what?
think I
Because
think it was,
yeah,
I think it was half credits. I swear it was half credits that I heard someone talking about. You're going to get back, but I think it was only if you bought it in the last 6 months or something. There was something funny about it. I just can't remember what it was, but
yeah.
I'm, I'm slightly dirty that I paid for Winton. I didn't like it, and now I didn't need to pay for it.
I think that is literally everyone.
Yeah.
I think you've summed up everyone with Winton Race, right? like maybe there's some people out there like because it's obviously maybe a local track to some people and they love it to death, but like, oh my god,
Yeah, I think
what do we?
like any sort of funny night that we've had on the sim, we've done a couple of hosted races. It's usually like we're either in the burnout pad there at Winton, or we're doing drag races in the middle of Winton.
Hey, it's nearly worth the price of the mission to use the drag strip. I'll give it
Yeah, it
that.
is.
Okay.
It
That's
is
the
pretty
saving
good.
grace for Winton. There you go. You
Yeah,
can make yourself feel a little bit better because you don't just get the racetrack and just those endless left, right, left, long, slow corners. You get the burnout pad and you get the drag strip. So
yeah.
you're right. We've probably got a lot of use out of it for non-races.
Yeah, it's
just
probably the
flying
best partially free drag strip on iRacing.
I tell you what, Sonoma would go close if you didn't drop off the face of the earth when you got
Yeah,
towards the end
exactly.
of it, because that's got a good drag strip at it too.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can get in there, but yeah, something glitches out big time. I think last time I was there, it did anyway. So, but yeah, Sonoma and Winton, the best drag strips on that I can think of on iRacing. But yeah, I like. How long do you reckon Winton's been out now for? 12 months? Has it been 12 months?
Yeah, it'd be about a year, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. Typically, if something's out for a year, I mean, Snedden's ancient.
Well,
Like,
I remember it came out, and then I think like a couple of weeks later was when you put a Porsche 911 GT3 on its nose. Um,
yeah, oh, at Winton, yeah, that
doing the
was. I
VR.
think I did everyone a favor, and yeah, I went over the what is it, the sausage curbs at the exit of turn. We,
Turn
well,
two, yeah.
yeah, the first turn chicane on the outside. I hit the ripple strip, and it just decided to do a handstand. Yeah, and I think everyone walked away relieved after we
Yeah,
DNF from that race because it was just
yeah,
chaos in the most torturous way. But yeah, typically if something goes over 12 months, it's hard to really get a credit for it. It's only Circuit de Lebanon was one that I thought, oh, that's gone free quick. Like, even not a lot of people got
yeah.
it.
Well, I remember. So last season, I did buy that track because there was a good few weeks there where I was consistently doing the Falcon Sports Car Challenge with the LMP3 and the GT4s, and driving the the LMP3, the dentist car. I think the next round, or the next week, it was there, and like I bought it, and I thought, I'll go have a look at it, and I jumped in like a practice session, and I was like, oh, see how many are signed up for the race, and like nobody was like signing up for the race. Heaps of people were signing up for the fixed in between races in the GT4s, but when the next hour come around to do the multi-class one, there was like one LMP3 or two like LMP3s like every race. That was just like no one wanted to do it. And like in the LMP3, I did a couple of practice laps, and that track is horrible in a high downforce car, especially like the LMP3 being so understeery as it is. It was horrible. And the GT4, I found it pretty fun. Like, I found it pretty fun around there. It's an odd track, and it's got a lot of blind like corners that come straight off cresses. Like, it's an odd track, but yeah, definitely not fun in a high downforce car. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we can move on now because we're out for 10 minutes. But I don't even own it, so I never went there. The series I run in
Oh,
never go
you
there.
do now. You do now. It's free.
Do now, yeah. All right, let's get our next one. Hi there, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt the podcast, but I had to make you aware of some exciting news, and that is the first sponsor of the Sim Racing in Focus podcast, and that is Camus. Camus have been kind enough to jump on board and back Sim Racing in Focus, both our podcast and an upcoming blog series, through their C5 product line. The C5 is a direct drive wheelbase and pedal set, and is the first of its kind by incorporating both wheelbase and rim into one easy-to-mount unit. The small compact design boasts a 5 Nm direct drive motor, a rim that includes 20 mappable buttons, 3 rotary encoders, a digital display, 2 paddle shifters, and 10 RGB LED rev lights. This product provides direct drive equipment to entry-level racers with a wide range of supported games for PC users. If you're looking to get into sim racing, or even considering a second wheel option for use away from your main rig, or for maybe a young up-and-coming sim racer in the household, then the C5 is definitely something that should be in consideration. The C5 direct drive wheelbase and pedal set is available for as little as $300 Australian dollars, and you can find their products at the Chemist website, which will be linked in the show notes below, with also a 5% off code. So I'd like to thank Camus once again for supporting the Sim Racing in Focus podcast. I'm excited to let you all know that the blogs will be making a return soon, and we'll cover off the C5 product line in much more detail within those series of blogs. So with all that being said, it's time to return to the show. The SF Formula Light.
Yeah, bugger.
Pick this one up yet?
Yeah, no, this is the one topic that I don't know about.
Well, I put this in there because I have some genuine interest. Not just in the light, but also in the in the proper SF Formula model.
Yeah, the one minus
Because
the
that
light.
looks like, that thing looks like a whole lot of fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's got the full DRS. I think they captured the model really, really well. And I haven't seen too much. Like, I can't say that, because I have been away and stuff. I can't say I've been over everyone. Like, normally, I'm watching a lot of content and stuff online, and seeing what people think about it. I haven't seen a whole lot of the Formula Light, or the SF Formula Light, but and this will feed into another topic, that a conversation we got later on with the Formula license. I'm looking like I really want to get into Formula racing, and this one looks like I think it could be a real option, but I'm probably still going to start with the F4.
Yeah,
Any interest on your side?
Yeah, well, it's funny actually. I was only driving the F4 last night. Funny enough, it was Zach Winton, and I hated it and left early. But the
With
F4,
everyone else.
yeah, the F4 is a cool car to drive. I like it. But yeah, the Formula Light, it's a lot of people are confused about it when they heard about it, because I think it falls in that same sort of category that it's pretty much the F3. Is that right? Like, it's because that's what sort of a lot of people were saying, and then everyone's like, "Oh, is it replacing the F3 in the officials? Like, is the F3 getting made into like a legacy?" Or there's a lot of confusion about that, where people have sort of thought that that's how they were going to go with this path. Like, but yeah, I hadn't seen anything back that up. It was just a lot of people sort of questioning that about it.
That wasn't on my mind, but now that you bring it up, I do remember seeing that, people talking about that it was. I think it's used as an F3 car. Is it in A? Like, I know the Super Formulas run mainly in Asia, isn't it? Like, as their top level open wheels category, and they were, I'm trying to remember some of the comments I'd seen, but someone was definitely saying that it was used as the F3 category. Not in Europe, but maybe it might have been Asia. And there was that conjecture about whether it would replace the F3, because I mean the F3 model is outdated. It doesn't even have the halo, does it? So like,
No.
yeah, it has. I do. I mean, it's not super old. Like I do remember it coming out, but um, they've been running Halos now for a few years, haven't they? On at least in the F3 series. So
Yeah.
I could see. I haven't. I wish I had got on and just seen what it's like performance wise, where it would fit in performance wise. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because obviously the SF is, it's not F1, but it's it's up there. It's
Yeah.
pushing the envelope in terms of pace, and it's like, where would this car fit in, and whether it would be comparable with the F3 or not. Like that's going to be the interesting part with where this car fits into the totem pole of open wheeler racing in iRacing.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any mention of that. It was all speculation from people that were just reading the notes. But like, I don't know. Maybe they might just see how the officials go for a season, and then if they find that the F3 is just sort of fallen off, they might just pull it from the officials. Maybe.
Yeah, the yeah. I mean, the F3's still got a good cult following. Like, there's still a couple of big series that use that car, and um, decent participation. And I kind of feel it's that way because this SF line of cars is, or the Super Formula line of cars is just not really well known outside of Asia. So, or at
Nah.
least that's the way I see it. Right, I'm not over everything, but like, yeah, the first I heard about it, the Super Formula, was when like uh, F1 drivers, well, teams, I should say, they'd have their juniors come up and they would, you know, do their season in F3, do their season in F2. Uh, there'd be these borderline guys which um, they would accrue enough license points that they would then go race in the Super Formula in Asia, because that Super Formula would give them enough license to qualify to have a full F1 license. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like they were kind of like placing drivers into that. That was the first time I heard about Super Formula. I think it was when Red Bull sent Pierre Gasly over there, and to try and get him license points. It was
Yeah.
something bizarre like that, and so that was as an F1 watcher like that. Yeah, so even to a fan, like, I wasn't well aware of the Super Formula. Sorry, being around much. So yeah, it's probably a category that hasn't really got that worldwide uh, fame just yet. But they look like mad cars, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, like even I went like before the previous Super Formula got released on iRacing. When I saw it there, I was like, "Oh, what is that class?" Like even I wasn't really familiar with it.
Mm.
And yeah, I was intrigued by it too because when I saw the onboard um, of the release video and that's like, "Oh, that thing sounds sick!" Like, and yeah, like once I sort of watched a few YouTube videos on the real ones, I was like, "Oh, this category is actually pretty cool." Um, but yeah, I'm a little bit out of touch with open wheelers. I've never been big on open wheelers. Even Formula One, like yeah, Formula One, I've sort of like was never majorly deep into over the years. A little bit more these days. I do follow it, but yeah, I think it'd be cool to see where the Super Formula Light fits in with everything else that they got on iRacing at the moment. Because yeah, like especially in the last sort of year, they've built a lot on their open wheel series on there, and you go on there now and you've got like all these different like series they run, like A's and B's and C's. Like they got that same sort of setup as like what they got with the oval series in there now. So they're like, you get your specific A categories, get your specific B license categories and whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, you think it would be towards that development car series end of the license scale. It probably around about a C class, maybe a D class, but you think that maybe the F4 is the D class car, and maybe this SF Light's the C class before the B class is the SF.
Yeah.
The open one, like, potentially something like that. But yeah, I'm optimistic, and the certainly put the participation and the way that the SF car, the Super Formula car, got embraced gives me some hope that this this series or this light model car might actually get picked up a bit and run with by people. Like, it's a good barometer of iRacing in a way. Like, if you got a good car and a good product, people are going to drive it in the sim, and if you don't, it's not going to go anywhere near it. Like I don't know, maybe like the electric Porsche. But anyway, okay, next topic.
Why can't we get that thing for free?
Yeah, because I never brought it. I seen it is the safety car in Scops though these days.
Yeah,
So.
look, they're going to have to give me that thing free because I'm never paying for it.
All right, let's go for another topic.
I want you to pronounce this.
The Patayona?
It's the Patayona 10 hour at Daytona.
You're going to have to lead the charge on this one because I can't.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't, you told me to put it on the list. I don't know anything about, like, I seen a couple. I did see it pop up last night, but you know what? I thought to myself, I've had Daytona shoved down my throat so much in the last couple of months, I can't watch anymore. But you said it went pretty well.
Well, it's funny. Like, even I didn't really know about it until yesterday. But
yeah. And you, like, for reference, you follow every single iRacing streamer, whether they speak English or not. Like, you've been known to follow some people in far away lands. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely follow way too many streamers. Yeah, I've definitely found myself in the background of some streams sometimes, usually binning it into the sand somewhere.
All right,
yeah,
Patayona. Tell us. Let's set the stage. Let's pretend like everyone else is like me, and we have no idea what this thing is.
Well, I think that if this was any other time, like, I wouldn't even have brought this up as a topic. I think the main reason that I wanted to talk about this, which kind of falls into one of our other categories to do with the rain, is it was hosted, I think it was for a charity, I can't remember. Anyway, it had a lot of streamers in there. So like Sam Soyd, Dan Suzuki, Will Ford, Booster Media was even there. And I think it had the GSI guys in there. There's a lot of like streamers and well-known people within the community that were in the race. And it was a 10-hour GT3 and LMDH race. And one thing that I noticed was how they had the rain throughout that race. And it was a lot more realistic than what we'd seen throughout the week with all the week 13 races, which has just been torrential downpour to like red flag status that we're just that everyone's just spinning into the turn one. Like, it's been full meme spec the way that they rolled it out on week 13. And it's just like, it was completely intentional. They just wanted to make it the worst for everyone so they could, have a laugh of it, like, obviously. But yeah, the way that these guys did it in this race was like the most realistic you could get. So it was basically an overcast day, and there was like periods of sort of like 30 minutes where it like rain enough to make the track wet, and then it died off for a bit, and then like 2 hours later, bang, like a bigger downpour, and then it went on for a bit, and then it tailed off, and then fog came in, and then it looked like it was going to rain again, and then it rained for a little bit more. And the biggest thing that I noticed was the tire strategies and how that actually came into play. Like, especially like the first one they were all on wet tires after it rained, and when it started to dry up, that was the biggest like key moment in how the field started to like switch up. And I noticed that like the Sam side, he was in like, I don't know, he was somewhere in the teens. He was like, what about 15 or something like that. And then it started to dry up, and they thought, oh, we'll come in early. He goes like, there's like a couple of dry lines, so he's come in, got the dry tires, gone back out there, and then his lap times compared to everyone else out there was like way quicker. And then so much so, by the time they'd all come in and gone on the dries themselves, he's actually jumped like way ahead on the field.
Mm.
And I think by the time everyone else had pitted, he come out and he was like sitting in, what was it? He was sitting in like 6th or something at one point. Like, it was just mental. Like, and that was the biggest thing that I was looking forward to. It was like that sort of moment, because we don't have, they had safety cars in this race because it was a hosted session, but in official endurance events, we don't ever have safety cars. So you never have that moment of like being able to change it up to make up any sort of ground, or, you know what I mean, to sort of change up the field a bit. So like, I think the whole rain thing and the strategy around tires and how people go about that will be key moments where people can make up that ground on that next car behind them, or lose ground and get overtaken. I think that's a very cool thing.
Yeah. So I know you probably just skimmed it, but did you happen to notice in those moments whether the iRacing spotter was saying anything? Like, when that track was in that transition phase, or was it, obviously it wouldn't have been saying much, because by the sounds of it, most of the field stayed out.
Yeah, well, it's very vague. I think like they more rely on you having an actual spotter. So like, and monitoring like the actual weather system and how it works. Because if you have a key mapped for the spotter to give you an update, he'll just sort of go, oh yeah, it looks like there could be rain. Like, it's just, you're like, oh, is it gonna or is it not? Like, he'll just tell you that there is going to be rain. But like, yeah, there might not
That's
be.
what we need.
Like, yeah,
That's
so
that's
like,
that's what we need. Like, there's too many, and there'll probably be a third party app developed down the track, but there's too many precise tools that we can get that tell us exactly when we should be doing something. Like having this new system come in. I'll save it. I actually save this for when we get to that topic. But I'm glad that there's some variability there. Like, that's,
yeah,
and you need the opportunity for the brave to reap rewards. And without giving too much away before we'll talk about later on, like, that sounds like it's impressive that there can be, we're talking maybe laps here, not just like one defined lap where you have to be on wets to you can be on slicks. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are worried about it being predictable and repetitive, and it's not going to be.
So what about the race itself? Do you have?
Yeah, it's funny enough. I was actually watching more of it the Savo because I fell asleep to it last night because just the time that it was on. But it was actually a pretty funny race. There's a lot of variation but on the iRating. So there was there was guys in there like up in the 8 and 9K iRating, and then there was people in there with like about 1,000 K rating, and it was a lot of the moves where like if I saw Sam Sword overtaking someone, man, like it just the moving chicanes were just mental. It was like it was crazy. It was pretty laughable what some of the things you saw in there, but it's what you get when you start mixing up those two different kinds of levels of iRating there. Yeah, it was just funny. You had you're watching this really fast guy sort of like drive this car really flat out, and then you're watching him overtake someone that essentially would be on bottom split, and they're just bouncing around everywhere on the track, not sure what to do or how to handle the car going past. It's like,
and then get hit with a windscreen full of spray.
Yeah, definitely. Because usually their iRating will keep them in a split low enough that there won't be any LMDHs in that race. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's probably unfamiliar for him.
Well, it's a whole different. It's a big challenge with the multi-class racing.
Yeah.
Oh man, another 10 hours at Daytona.
The frames, the frames. That was one thing I noticed. The frames were pretty mental there too. But I won't go into that now. That'll be later on with our next topic.
You've done a good job. You've got us through to 10 minutes there. So
I wanted to do the Patayona proud. So
and tip my cap in your general direction, wherever that may be. Let's go again for another topic.
Oh, what have we got?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm keen to cover that one, but it's not.
yeah.
It's the formula, the introduction of the formula license as our next topic. Okay, so this one, I'm liking. I really like this. I'm getting a whole. How do we explain this? Our road license is no longer grouped with open wheel cars and tin tops, so we're getting that segregation now where we can have our own license for the formula cars. And I tell you right now, I have not raced any formula cars. Not that I'm like in official capacity, I should say, and it's not because I love the open wheel cars, but I just have not that I'm protecting my I rating, but I've never wanted to put it on the line in something that I know I'm just going to tear wheels off like the car. So, and
Yeah.
it's something that I've always looked at, like even in some of the lower categories, it looks like you have to relearn how you race cars on track because you cannot. Yeah, I could be completely wrong. Like I don't, like I said, I haven't done much racing in him, but when I look at him, I'm like, man, you only need to catch your wheel on something or someone or even another wheel, and you could be taking race long damage or race ending damage, and I'm like, I'm not gonna, if I'm trying to move up, like particularly like when I've been doing a lot of official racing, it's been in the V8 supercar, and trying to pump the I rating up in that, and I've never been willing to risk it. So, but this now, like we were talking about earlier, I think right now, like for this upcoming official season, I am willing to just get the F4 and go out and go racing. And even though I'm going to start with the same road racing IR, like I've got no issues if that takes a hit in the interim now. But I'm definitely going to be, getting the F4 out and going and do some officials. Like, has it had that effect on you as well?
Yeah, it's funny, eh? Like a lot of people have been very on the fence about it. On just the way that the iRating system works and how everyone's been because at the end of the day, like if you got an AK license in you know normal road, then you're going to have AK in this. So like people are a little bit confused about how we're just automatically being allocated iRating, but at the end of the day, like I was trying to think about it in the sense of like, would I do it? Because like you were just saying, then you've always sort of like stood clear of it in case risk an iRating that. And it's funny, I've done a lot of officials in the past, not a lot, but I've done a few, and every time I've definitely lost a decent chunk of iRating every time. And
Well, it's just there's no room for error, and you just see like all the meme videos going around of like the F3 where there's like an 18 car pile up on lap one.
yeah, like yeah, like you you spend the season driving the Porsche Cup car, just railing curbs and whatnot, and then you jump into a Formula 3 car and try and rail off the first sausage curb and rip the wheel off, and you're like, oh, okay, can't do that. Like, yeah, it's different, but yeah, I can see myself like doing this now, especially knowing that it's not going to affect my rating in road, like normal road. Like, yeah, I definitely would be keen because like even for our team, like I've done a couple liveries for open wheel cars and never really done anything with them other than a couple of practice sessions. Like, so yeah, because I think the other thing is too, like you worry about your safety rating because they're a high risk car, like especially that series, like some of the videos that you watch of people doing it and streamers and that, and yes, it's a high risk category. Like you do a lot of close racing, but as soon as you get tangled up, like your race is normally going to be over. It's not just going to be like, oh, I've been banging doors and got light damage. Like, so nah, my wheel's going to be ripped off, and I'm going to lose a heap of IR and SR.
Yeah.
So
You're like, it's funny. Like, if I was racing in that series, I would be searching for a gap as fast as I possibly like. even if it's just giving up like a spot or something. Like you almost don't want people anywhere near you, like
Yeah,
because it's just so hard to go wheel to wheel, like
yeah, it is.
um, in that type of thing, and um, even when I've looked down at like even like you don't even F3 I've always looked at as like, oh my god, this is gonna just like your safety rating's just gonna plummet,
Yeah,
and um and it's a car that the guys that drive it often drive it really well, but you can see there's a lot of guys in there that just they're obviously open wheel fans. There's just
yeah,
they're chaos. There's absolute chaos. So
yeah,
I've stick clear of it. And then in the past, up until where the F4 was just released, I had no interest in. I know it's a real popular category on iRacing, but I had no love for the Skip Barber at all. So um,
yeah. I was like that. I think I bought it and I did a couple of like races of it. I think like, to be honest, I think the races that I'm referring to are like week 13 ones where they put on a dirt oval. But I did buy it. But the one car that is cool is the Formula Ford, which is a free car. That actually is a cool thing to drive. I actually drove that in the wet the other day. Actually, yeah, it does go on a wet track, that one too.
yeah,
And it's wicked fun, that thing. It just slides around the track, sounds good and drives good feeling. But yeah, I think that was one too that I wanted to do, because that's the thing too. Like, especially a lot of them are like D class, and even like rookie class. I think some of them are as well. And it's just like, yeah, you've got an A license, or whatever. You go down there, have a couple of incidents. You're like, oh man, like the amount of like safety rating you'll lose from that is just like crazy. So like, yeah, I think for me, it's always been more of the safety rating side of things and not the I rating side of things. Like,
yeah, you just can't afford to lose those. Like, yeah. No,
yeah,
you're right. And now that I think of it, like, yeah, I can definitely say that. Yeah, you don't want to lose, like, certainly until recent times. Like, was it the GT3 that was A class for a long time? And now
yeah,
it's been moved back to B class. But
yeah. Now IMS is,
that your GT3 category, your GT3 categories, like for most people, like is either your first or your second category, really. Like,
yeah,
and you're not going to put that on the line to go and race Skip Barbers
yeah,
or F3s. Like,
yeah.
yeah, so like, yeah, it's definitely better to have it split now. But do you think there's potential for more splits, or do you think that in terms of the road racing side of things, do you reckon that'll be it? Open with
Yeah,
like tin
I
tops.
think I think if it's taken them this long to do this, I think that'll be it. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I can't really see anything else that they could do as far as splitting goes. Like, yeah, I think that's about it.
yeah. Unless they bring drag cars out.
Yeah, and there's that.
Yeah, that would be the other one. But yeah, no, I think
We got
that's
drag racing, but at Winton, so we don't need to worry about
yeah.
that. Free, so
Can you imagine if it went back to a paid track because they'd updated the drag strip?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they do a reskin.
They might need to retar that thing. It's bumpy as all hell, but
Yeah,
maybe that's a couple of top what are they, top door slammers or whatever that category of drag racing is, the funny cars. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
got a
you
couple
can
funny
see
cars.
iRacing will get into that for sure.
Yeah,
All right, well, we've done well there. We'll call that 10 minutes. That's close enough. And I reckon we've got a couple of good topics to go here. Like,
you get
we've
some
got
real
those out of the
doozies.
way. Yeah. Oh, we got the big one.
Yeah, you got the big one.
We got the big one. We got the weather model coming up here for the next 10 minutes. Okay, so obviously a lot's been made of this one, but I haven't done a whole lot just yet. I've obviously downloaded it. I've seen a lot of videos, but is this just like, another weather system in ACC or Formula One 2023? Like, or is this something different?
This is actually like as much as like everyone's paid them out for how long they've taken to do it and all the delays and the whole hashtag soon thing, like they've released it uh, really well, and I think how they've gone about it, um, the physics model and the design of how you can do it on a race setup. So the timeline set up for how you want to have your rain come in and how you want it all work. Uh, they've nailed it on the head, eh? Like, like even what I said to you earlier on today about what things can like do I think are bad about it that I don't like? Like they're only like slight visual things, and that's it. Like
Hmm.
the only negative thing I can say about it is a hot topic with everyone at the moment, and they've already said that they're working on it, and that's the the spray of the rain coming off the cars and the fact that you cannot see the car in front of you. But the thing is, like, this is in like torrential rain, like downpours. Like, so this sort of scenario I'm referring to is like in the week 13 races, which is like it's set to the worst of the worst. So these sort of races would be red flagged in a real life situation. So, um, but what happens essentially is, there's that much spray coming off the car, you can't see any of the rain lights on the car or the brake lights, and you just don't know where you're going. Like it's pretty crazy. Like, and in real life, it can be like that, but to the same extent, you can see the light, but just in iRacing, you see nothing. So that visual aspect there, and I did notice that like it's car dependent as well. So like LMP3's cruising in first gear on a pacing lap, the spray is like monstrous coming out of those things. You can't even see where you're going. I'm like, oh, that's a bit over the top. So like,
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of like at slow speed, it's no different than what it is at high speed. Whereas GT3s don't do that. So it's like I don't think it goes off the tire like pattern, like the tire footprint on the track. I think it goes off the body footprint of the track.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, that's probably like the only thing I can mock about it. Like it's the way it feels like when you hit a puddle and the feeling in the wheel, the car just wanting to go straight. Because like I've raced cars in the wet like years ago in the past, and that's probably the only experience I've got racing in the wet apart from off-road bikes. But like, yeah, like trying to find that dry line and driving off the racing line, like you have to do it now in iRacing as well. Like, if you try and drive your normal line, you can either go straight or pinch the brakes and spin, or the cars just want to drift. Like
Yeah.
it'll just, it's crazy how accurate they got it. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. Like even like Daniel Morad, who's a two-time Daytona 24 winner in real life. He was just saying how intuitive it is, and just how he's like he was doing a torrential pull down drive at Sebring, and he's just going, look, he goes, I'm driving the same lines that I would have last time I was here when it was raining. And he goes, they're all working. And he goes, if I drive the lines that I know I shouldn't drive, he goes, the car just, I'm slow and I'm spinning and I'm losing control. He goes, it's crazy, like how accurate that they've done it. They're definitely nailed on the head for sure.
Yeah. So a couple of points, I guess. They're talking about your normal racing line is going to be super slippery because of rubber buildup. So when the rain's falling on that surface, typically you look at other sims, right? You probably still pick in the same line
Yeah,
when
definitely.
it's raining,
Yeah,
and you're just driving it slightly differently, like the way you got. It's all still throttle brake control mainly.
yeah,
But iRacing comes out. It brings to the table. Sure, curbs and white lines are slippery. That we've seen that before, but now we've got slippery um, rubber build up on tracks. So it forces you to go offline both in corner entry and corner exit. yeah, we were talking the other day. We got to see like the wet Bathurst 12 hour, and um, especially in a lot of the safety car restarts, how they were coming into the last corner and they were driving down the middle of the track in order to avoid the start bays. So they were going around the corners, literally in the middle of the track, and these are all the things that are now coming into iRacing. Like, this is the level of detail that the weather system, like this weather update, is bringing. That puts it so far in front of
It
any
does.
other sim out there. Like, it's not even close. It's not even just minorly better weather system.
Yeah.
Um,
Even down to the detail of like just going down a straight and you just see a puddle. If you drive through it, the car just tries to aquaplane on you in that just going
yeah,
straight. Or even the back straight at like Sebring, like driving down there in a torrential rain and you hit the white line on the right side of the track and the white line's slippery. Like, it's just, yeah, crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Like how the world they've done it. Like, and it's just made you sort of have to constantly think and adapt and drive in a different way. And the best thing um, that I like about it is just how locally controlled it is. So, like, for instance, like I didn't even realize that it was going to be like this, but like I was in a hosted session that Malone put up the other day, and like it was at Virginia, and it was like the Toyota 86. It was like the Caddy LMDH in there, and then it was like Formula Ford. I was in the Formula Ford, but like I remember like it started raining, and like, oh, actually, well, the start of the race it was dry, and you could see the clouds coming in, and every lap you got at the start finish straight, you could see the clouds coming further and further in, which is really cool because it's constantly changing, and like it was changing fast, and then out of nowhere, up near the oak tree corner, which isn't there anymore, it was starting to rain. I was like, oh, it's starting to rain. So you drive along, get down the start finish straight. It's not raining down there. So like one part of the track was raining, the other part wasn't. And then like a few laps went by, and then it started to slightly rain on the main straight. But like at this point, down the other end of the track where the oak tree is, there was puddles already starting to build up. So like each lap, it kept changing like consistently, and like each lap, you notice that one part you couldn't drive in that part anymore, but the last two laps you could. So like, okay, I got to change my lineup a bit, and it's just the grip change when it comes in from lap to lap, and just especially when you've got it localized at different sections of the track, it's crazy. Like just
yeah,
how much you have to constantly think about, oh, can I might have to roll off early here, I might have to do this, I might have to take this line, I might have to do that. Like it's really cool. Like it's gonna be a deal breaker for so many people that just, you know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
like the thing is too, like a lot of the people are just like, oh yeah, can't wait to lose on my SR and get just absolutely murdered in the turn one. But like I don't think there's going to be many races that are ever going to start with like the week 13 style rain. You know what I mean? Like at the start of
yeah,
it,
yeah,
like Daytona 24 is going to be like red flag torrential rain, like on lap one. Like that's never going to happen. Like they're
yeah,
going to do it the right way, and you're going to be starting on a dry track, and then, or if you are starting a wet track, it'll be probably wet enough, like probably still dry enough that you still run slicks nearly.
mm,
Um, so it won't be that slippery, because when it actually is raining and it's not like complete puddle building, like, and it's sort of more realistic rain, you can still have a fair bit of pace and there's still a lot of grip. It's just that, yeah, when you drive the
you find
Mimi
it.
week 30, yeah, when you
Mm,
drive the Mimi week 13 races that are gone, there's just the worst of the worst conditions and things you won't really see ever. So I think, yeah, like when I was watching the Patayona, like it started dry and then, got a little bit of drizzle, and then, guys went on the wets, and then that was the biggest thing that you saw was when guys, stopped the rain, started to stop, the guys that checked out into dries sooner, and just how that was able to change things up was like really cool, by guys taking the risk on staying out with wets, which didn't work for them. But yeah, it was cool to see in that sort of sense. And like at that point, the field's not bunched up. So, the rain's not really having too much of a major effect. Like it's just, yeah, I think it's cool. Like a lot of people were very daunted by it, but I think it's awesome. Like I'm heaps keen for it, and yeah, I've had a lot of fun driving it all this week.
Well, in 30 seconds, sum up, has it had the anticipated negative effect on the PC load?
Yeah, definitely. But not as bad as what I thought. So like, um, they claimed 10% less frames with rain, but like, I think it's very track dependent.
Yeah.
Like I think it's actually this is the so there is another negative that I got. So um, the reflection settings for it. So you got off, low, and high, and that's how you see the puddles in the track. So running them on high, obviously that's the most detailed, and you can see
Yep.
legit reflections of the trees around on the track. So like it looks really cool, makes it easier to see where the puddles are, so you know where not to drive. But I did fiddle the settings in replay mode the other night, and if you put it to low, it makes the puddles look like they're rendered in like 240p. Like they look blurry and pixelated, and they look
Yeah.
really odd. And the only reason that made me focus on this was at Spa, and the camera was looking down the hill past the Enduro start finish straight, and looking towards the hill at Eau Rouge, the puddles going up the hill were blurry, that it gave the depth a really weird look. So it made the hill actually look kind of closer, and you couldn't really tell where it was going. Like it didn't look like a hill anymore. Like it was, I couldn't explain it. It was just really bizarre. And it was
Yeah.
easier if I either had it on high or off. For like low
Yeah.
seems to give off a real false effect of what it's actually doing. But the only thing is, when you do turn it off, you don't know where those puddles are, like, very well. They're very hard to see. So yeah, I've been running it on high, and it's been fine. Like I haven't had frames bad enough that I've just gone, oh, this is undrivable, like, at all.
Yeah.
And I'm running a 3600, no 30. What am I running? 3800 AMD with NVIDIA RTX 3070, and it still hold up pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, well, that covers that off well. So I think we can move on. That is definitely 10 minutes up on that topic. Alrighty. Next topic. We've only got 2 to go now. We're going to take V8 Scops for the second to last topic. All right. Well,
I want to hear about your experience with the qualifying situation on this one.
It'll be brief. I don't think it's going to get 10 minutes. Oh, man. What? So for context, so the V8 Supercars Online Premier Series kicked off. It'll be a week ago today. So round 1. So we had the series change ownership in the off season. So formerly the biggest V8 Supercar league in Australia, run by Oceanic Sim Racing, or OSR as we all know it. So they stepped away after something insane, 15, 20 years. I don't know. It was just crazy. The guys were in it for so long. Australian Online Gaming, or AOG, take over. Scops has always been up there as the pinnacle, but last year probably, I think it's fair to say, took a little bit of a backseat to the Logitech G Pro Invitational, so a series that we've been covering on the show quite regularly. There was a bit of, I think, in the interim, it's fair to say, Packets, that there was a little bit of like, oh, how's this going to work? Like, how's this going to play out? Like, are we about to see? It was a flashpoint, really. Like, it could have been a moment in time where we've seen probably one of the most iconic series in Australia disappear.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, like, I don't know the reasoning to OSR stepping away, and why it transitioned over to AOG. So I don't know if it was any relation to that at all. But that's purely speculation. But like, yeah, I don't know. With AOG taking over though, like one thing that's for certain is like I've always really enjoyed their Porsche Cup broadcast. There's just something about the way they go about it and the way it looks with them that I just really enjoy. They just managed to make their broadcast not look so much like a game. Like it's, I don't know if that, I don't know what they do. I don't know what sort of LUT filter they're using or how they're doing it, but yeah, they make it look really good on the broadcast.
The thing that I enjoy like, I think Daniel Yeaman and Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah,
I think I got that right. Daniel, like he's like obvious, like he's a shrewd operator. Like he's obviously a very clever man, and uh, and he runs all his admin side of it really really well. But being in the Discord for the AOG Porsche Cup Series like last year, he just the boys would just take the mickey out of him and he would just cop it like so well. Like it's so refreshing. Like it's so good to see like admin like interacting like that. Just he got paid out. So but anyway, like and so you could just tell that it was going to be no drama. Like it was going to like it was never a case like that they were going to lessen the product. It was only going to go forward. And when they took over, I thought I knew when OSR announced that they were leaving it, and passing off to someone else. I was thinking, oh, here we go. We've got a merger on our hands here. Something's going to happen between them and Logitech. Like that's what I was thinking. Where it's kind of like a passing of the baton type thing. But they went. I was very surprised to see AOG pop up. But within the first couple of minutes of seeing the news, I thought, actually, that's actually going to work real well because, I don't know the guys that well, but knowing what I do know about them, it's like, they're only going to move that thing forward. We'll move on to round one, which was at Montreal, Canada. And the reason why this topic's in here is not so much to cover what happened in the race, but it was just more to touch on what was just a monumental start to the season in terms of participation. So one of the big changes that come about in the change of ownership was previously Supercars Online Premier Series had been 2 splits and 40 cars in each split. And there would be 3 nights of pre-qualifying, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The top 80 drivers would go through, but this year it's been cut to 32 per split, so 64 overall. And for round one, we had about 114 drivers, I believe it was, trying to pre-qualify to get on the grid. And yours truly was one of them. Man. And it was tough. It was really tough.
Sounds like an understatement.
Well, they're doing a great job, right? They'll post on updates every day. Qualifying one, yep, okay, here's your split cut 1 drivers 1 to 32. Here's your split 2 drivers 1 to 32. Here's your people that have missed the cut 1 to 32. Well, actually, I missed the cut for the missed cut page. There wasn't enough room on the missed cut page for me. So I'm just out here in the abyss every day, like just couldn't even get it into the top 32 of the missed drivers. So
I remember looking at the list, like the final result, and like looking at split 1, split 2, and the missing the cut. And like I was just looking at some of the names in the missing the cut and just going, wow, that bloke actually missed the cut? That's crazy. Like I didn't think he would miss the cut. The times between the whole missing the cut field to split 2, there's like nothing in it. Like it's it's crazy, like how the
I don't.
times were, and how
Yeah,
close they all were. Like split two, like yeah, actually between both splits, like the times are just what was it? The quickest time in split two was a 34.7, and the slowest was a 35.2. Like that's just like that's the whole split. Like
yeah.
that's just insane. Like yeah,
Well, that's. So did you say that was split too? Because yeah, I
that
remember
was split
someone.
two.
Yeah, someone told me that it was just over 4 tenths that separated 32
Yeah,
cars in split two.
split two was closer than split one. Like as far as
Yeah,
times went, like split one was split by an entire second. Um, like between the top and the bottom. Like it was just split two, man. The times and how close they were to get in there, it was just crazy.
oh man, like I've never done scops before, and I'm doing it because it just, you know, I got lots going on in the real world, and it just the every 2 to 3 weeks is just perfect for me at the moment, and that's just, I can go and have a week away, like I did last week, and do the things I need to do with the family, and then you come back. But there's obviously a fair amount of work that needs to go in terms of practice between those two between two rounds, and oh, it was just a. I mean, there's guys out there that would be well accustomed to it now, but going through the process of trying to fit pre-qual in around when I went to Melbourne, um, man, like if you're not used to it, churning the laps out, like it was. And Montreal's such a the corner cuts obviously play a huge role with that track. There's sausages everywhere, and you just hit one sausage incorrectly, and your whole lap's gone. You
Yeah,
don't even have to take it off track. Like if you just don't kiss it properly, and like obviously that a lot of that can come down to your setup, and you're like I'm just that's I'm woeful when it comes to setups. Like I need someone to do it for me. And like obviously there's guys out there that do it and do it well, and you could just see them just smashing and railing curbs. And if I tried to do that, my car was just getting launched up on two wheels, and I had really nothing. And there's been a lot of people say that the hot lappy nature of the pre-quali is not good for the rate and race result, and I can sort of see their point of view there. But like, oh man, like when the whole field separated by 4 tenths, how do you sort of argue against it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
it's exactly right. Eh?
mm, and it's just it was. But I was going through it like where I'd find myself um, getting little improvements, and then for an hour I wouldn't see any improvements.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, and by the end of the hour, you like I went through that a couple of times, and I thought once this sort of plateau starts happening, you just need to get up and walk away, and
yeah. I think
come
we
back
had a
on.
good chat about that and I think I said to you like you get to a point where you start going, oh, I'll try this and I'll try that, and you find yourself not just sort of going, oh, I'm going to do the same thing through all these other sectors on the track, and then I'm going to change this one sector and just see what it does. You find yourself just changing your entire lap, and then you end up just going in the completely wrong direction because you change
Yeah,
so many things, and you don't know which one's right or wrong, and it can be so like mentally messy that you just like, I need to just walk away and maybe come back tomorrow and try something different. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
there was a couple of days there where like I literally gave up, come back the next day, and within a couple of laps went a few tenths faster. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, you can definitely reach that stage of mental fatigue with it, that you just not
yeah,
no matter what you do, you're not going to make any more gains on that day type thing. And then, yeah, that was a weird thing. And obviously, like the more you do it, the more you get accustomed to it, and you don't get so frustrated with it. But man, yeah, it was no good for me. But Phillip Islands are probably going to be just as brutal this week, I think. So
yeah.
probably about time I actually get me working on that. But yeah, like I think just to just to sum it up, like I could be wrong, but I think that round one was one of the for a car that's seen such big official drop off, like official race drop off in terms of participation, like to get that amount of cars out there in round one, essentially the first race for AOG, to have the times as close as they were, um, man, just a huge success for them guys. Like you got to say, like that's really exciting for how the rest of the calendar's going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. We've covered them off. So down to our last topic. The Le Mans Ultimate release.
You
I was
still got to
keen
spin
to.
the wheels.
I'm going to spin it. There we go. And it lined up. Nearly perfect with the arrow. I'm going to spin it. I was. Oh, got a round of applause. Thank you. I was keen to throw this one in there. Like, I think, we've been covering iRacing in Australia pretty heavily in this first sort of, let's say, 12-week period or season one of the podcast. But I do eventually want to start expanding a little bit of the horizons. And this has been Le Mans Ultimate, or as a wider topic, motorsport games has been one that we mentioned right back at the beginning because it's just such a fascinating topic to talk about. I think not necessarily in a whole lot of positive light, but like, motorsport games just, well, this is their first probably. I would say I'm willing to probably say that this is their first bit of positivity for a long, long time. But the Le Mans Ultimate release comes out. It comes out. Would we say incomplete? It's not really. Yeah, it would incomplete.
I think they technically call it early access. I think.
Oh, they are. Yeah, that's right. 7 tracks. You get a couple of LMDHs. You got 1 LMP2 and 4 GT3 cars.
Yeah, and comes with all the R Factor 2 bugs.
I didn't see them in the release notes anyway, but okay. So I haven't got it yet. I do think I will get this. I've watched plenty. Like, there's been enough. This is like, dare I say it? Like, this is a bit too strong, but it's kind of like a car accident. Like, you can't drive past and not look at it. Like, you have to see what's happening here. And I watched some videos, and there's a couple of guys out there that are like talking themselves into it, going, "Yep, it's a good start. It's a good start." So I think the early access is about $25, $30, something like that, Australian dollars. So
yeah,
not nothing, but not a full price game by any course of the imagination. And iRacing's obviously most of our main simulators for people that we've talked to here on the game, on the show, but I still have these like little satellite games that you'd like to tease me about. When you see in my Discord tag saying I'm off playing farming sim or truck sim or whatever else.
What's the other one? Flight sim.
Flight sim. I'm just all simmed up at the moment, and I like to have these peripheral games, and I don't know, man. Like, the ones are like, I'd like to buy it, but I kind of also feel like, everything that released with this title release last month is from last season. And I kind of feel like the thing that makes me really hesitant with this game is I feel like, and I don't know, maybe they've said it somewhere already, but I feel like the 2024 content's going to be coming as a paid DLC. Like, have you seen anything that's sort of like counters that?
Look, I think even thinking that any 24 content is coming for this game is a far stretch.
Really? I kind of thought like this was it. Like, this was where they put all their eggs into one basket, and it's Le Mans Ultimate.
Yeah. I just kind of, I don't know. I just, I'm struggling to be positive about this game. I'm not going to lie.
But you got to try.
Like, from what I've seen, like, a lot of streamers jumped in on it in the last sort of few weeks and played it. And a lot of them had positive things to say about it. And then a lot of them also were saying that, it's still got this, couple of random bugs and things that the people have had issues with in rFactor 2. And like, when you look at that and you're like, oh, okay, these are the same issues that they complain about in rFactor 2 that never ever got fixed in the million years it's been out. So you kind of think like, it says early access, but like, is it just going to continuously stay in early access? Like, it's like, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I think visually it looks good from what I've seen. I won't completely write it off. I think visually it looks good. The engine that they've used on it definitely looks good. I think the sound of the cars look pretty good. Look pretty good. Far out. I think the sound of the cars sound pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't do these particular games. Like it's like same as like ACC. Like, I tried playing that so many times before there was a low fuel motorsport thing, which you could then play online like iRacing. But I'd go in there and I'd thrash around for a couple of laps and then I'd just be like, I am over it. Like, I just didn't get that sense of engagement. Like I was racing other people, for a license thing or, what I mean? Like I'd never got that.
There's nothing to keep you there.
Like, there's nothing. There's nothing to keep me there, like pushing harder. Like same as like Automobilista 2. Like as good as that game looks, I just don't get that desire to want to come back. And I feel like maybe I might get this one day when it's on sale. Despite how much I don't really want to get it, like I probably will one day if it's on sale, just to see if it is okay.
Right, probably when you're waiting for the actual Le Mans, like the week of the Le Mans race, the actual real world one to come on, you might get in it for the mood.
Yeah, but then I don't know. Like I don't know, with the whole motorsport games and how they've gone about everything in the past. Like I struggle to even want to be positive to try it.
Yeah.
Like,
but,
what I've seen, has been pretty good.
Yeah, well, visually and sound, I agree. I'm a big sound guy. Like, sound's important for me, and that's why I do go back to ACC because sometimes I'm not looking for like all out competition. I just want to have my eardrums blasted out by like an awesome sounding car. And like some days I can just toil around with that for an hour or two and just do hot laps and around decent tracks and just listen to the exhaust crackle or whatever. Like, I'm a big sound guy, and like I can admit the sound sounded okay for that game, but the thing that did it for me, man, was the camera shake. Oh my god! Like, we know Sebring's bumpy, right? But there's not speed humps everywhere on it.
The head movement in the cockpit camera.
How does anyone drive? How does anyone drive with that? Like, it's insane.
It's actually pretty funny that.
I didn't know LMP2's porpoised like the F1 cars.
Yeah, you can turn that down, but it's very drastic, kind of like how rFactor 2 was. But it's pretty crazy. But you can actually dial that back, which is pretty good.
Okay. There you go. Well, I think that that's definitely one thing I would be doing straight away before I even put the car on track with that. But like I'm going to keep following it. Like, I'm kind of interested. Like, I'm interested from the motorsport games point of view where, like, and I'm considering, like, I want to get back in. I've got a few ideas for some articles to put back up, and one of them is to take a big look at like the last 24 months of motorsport games and seeing like, how that company began with so much investment in all the licenses, then what happened with their share prices, just sort of covering it all in detail. And I'm just intrigued at the moment to whether there's a little bit of recovery happening there or not that might signify that.
Well, given that over the weekend there was like, at any given time on Twitch, there was at least 2,000 people viewing iRacing streams, and there was like 100 people viewing Le Mans Ultimate streams. I don't know if it's going to be a mega recovery
at $25 a pop. Yeah. Well, that doesn't paint a great picture, does it? Good to know, but yeah,
Yeah.
look, yeah. Anyway,
Like I don't know how many. I don't like. The other thing is too. Like it's. Yeah, I don't know. Like player based numbers, but like even now, there's still a. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The numbers, and there's like 1,000 people playing iRacing, 700 people playing Assetto Corsa. Oh, sorry, 700 people viewing Assetto Corsa, and then there's 200 people viewing Le Mans Ultimate.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be, because the thing is too, with everything they went through, like this had to be successful, like extremely successful for it to
Well,
sort of dig
it's it's got that feeling that this is everything on the line for them. Every possible
yeah,
in
and
like
it had to come out
resource
perfect,
they've
like
got.
near perfect too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll wait and see, but that's going to cover them off in our 10 minutes here. But yeah, it's going to keep going and going, and then it's
Yeah,
the gift that keep on giving. So
put it this way: there's 5 times more the amount of people watching someone play San Andreas GTA than what there is Le Mans Ultimate right now. And that game came out 20 years ago.
yeah. Okay. All right. Stop. You've painted the picture well enough for us. Oh, mate. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this, but it's been different, and I love just the whole non-prepared nature of it. So, man, thank you for
Yeah, no,
jumping on.
that's all right. Most of your listeners are probably thinking, "Why did he bring this clown on? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?"
Yeah, there's no, we've talked to some like people that are out there doing awesome things, but you're like the
Just
sim
a
racing
nobody.
lurker. You're just a lurker. Yeah, but that's all right. That's fine. That's cool. It's been enjoyable. It's been it's been good to have someone here to bounce off for all these topics, and you get a little bit another perspective. So, mate, thank you. I reckon we can tee this up any time you like again to come back on and and maybe even if it's once a season, we can pick out some topics and go again. That would be awesome.
No, that was good. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
No dramas, mate. All right. Well, actually, before you do go, people can find you out there in the social media space, can't they? If they want to see some meme clips and
Yeah,
there's more.
absolutely.
It's pretty much just meme clips that you do, isn't it? Like, oh, there's some nice
Yeah.
photos, but do you stream or you only every now and then?
Look, I stream whenever we do an endurance event.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do stream on 4E96 on Twitch, but yeah, other than that, I'm usually on either 4E96 on TikTok or on Instagram. And yeah, it's just normally either edited photos from iRacing, or it's just real memey clips of some sort of carnage I've been involved with on track. Usually my own fault.
But just like on the topic though, you've had some videos that have done pretty well, haven't they? Considering like
Yeah.
you're not like always super like active, but when you do, like there's some funny stuff that comes out. There's some videos that certainly come to mind, like the Matt Bowler rollover video in the AOG Porsche Cup last season. Like if there's anyone listens to this show that was in that league and in that Discord last season will know that was I'd had me crying that video where he
With the
went through the ground.
Trollolol song. It's so funny.
All right.
It's like
So
whenever,
yeah,
whenever I think of stuff like that too, and I make it, like I'm usually giggling like a schoolgirl, like making
yeah.
it too, like 9 times out of 10. Like, just can't
All
help
right. So
myself.
what was it? 496?
Yep,
Did
on
you
pretty
say?
much everything.
And then you've got a Packets channel as well, don't you? Packets 96
Oh
social
yeah,
media.
that's just my Facebook one, which is tied in with all the others. But yeah, I was
So
going
you
to
can
change
find it
the name.
if you go through.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
FRIE 96. There you go. Go check it out if you want to have a laugh. Definitely something to look at while you're on the loo getting paid at work. All right, that's going to do us for tonight. Thanks for joining in once again, and we'll talk to you next week.